There isn't much you can sow as the leaves fall and temperatures plunge, but fava or broad beans are the exception. I reckon this underrated vegetable is due some recognition because not only is it the last thing you can sow before winter, it's also super easy to grow and super nutritious. So let's elevate and celebrate this hardy bean. Fava beans, I love them, and so should you. They really are super hardy. I don't know of many other seedlings that will happily sit through a cold winter. And then they give one of the very earliest crops of summer at a time when there isn't much else to pick. These pleasingly plump beans have exceptional levels of vitamins and minerals. They're high in protein and they've got a great source of potassium, which helps reduce blood pressure and is good for the old ticker. Beans, beans, good for your heart. The more you eat them. Like all beans, fava beans team up with soil bacteria to lock up nitrogen at their roots in these little balls called nodules. Now, nitrogen is an important plant nutrient, so this remarkable setup makes these beans pretty self-reliant. That said, they will grow a lot better if you can feed the soil with a generous topping of compost to help them grow big and strong. I'm going to spread it about 1 inch or 3 centimetres deep, and this will help to feed the soil and create lovely, healthy, strong plants. I'm not going to bother digging the compost in, the worms will take care of that for me. I'm planting my fava beans now in the autumn to get the earliest possible crop. Autumn planting fava beans is a win-win situation. Not only do you get those first precious harvests of summer, you'll also keep the soil covered over winter, which will be great for soil life, and it makes use of an otherwise empty bed. Fava beans are the biggest of all vegetable seeds, which makes them a lot easier to sow. No fiddling around with tiny seeds trying to get them properly spaced. Let's get them in. The easiest way to sow your beans is to make individual holes with them using a dibber, or I'm just going to use a trowel. Now, there are different ways of spacing the seeds. Some people like a double row, each pair of rows spaced about 3 foot or 90 centimetres apart. I like to keep it nice and easy by planting the seeds in a block, so they are going about 8 inches or 20 centimetres apart in both directions. Nice and easy does it. Now, for autumn sowing, you want to look for a hardy variety, so look for something described as hardy or specifically for autumn planting like this. Once the seedlings come up, they may attract the attention of birds such as pigeons, so be on hand to place some netting over them if they do get some attention. Autumn sowing is a bit of a balancing act. You want your seedlings to be up before winter arrives, but you don't want to sow them so early that they grow soft, fast and lanky, only to get clobbered by a cold snap. You ideally want your seedlings to be about 1 or 2 inches or up to 5 centimetres tall as they're going into winter, and no taller than that. But if they do get a bit ahead of themselves, well, just cover the area with a fleece or cloche and that should keep them protected. But what if autumn sowing is a non-starter where you are, either because winters are very cold or because your soil gets very waterlogged over the winter, meaning that seeds simply rot away? Well, it's simple. Delay sowing till spring, or another alternative, start your seeds off under some form of protection, such as a greenhouse or cold frame. The best time to sow under cover is the second half of winter, but I'll demonstrate now. You want to use nice big plugs, this kind of size here, or you could just sow individual seeds into pots like this. Now I'm going to sow them at the same depth as I did outside, and that's one seed about 3 centimetres or 1 inch deep. You want to keep them somewhere the mice won't find them, because they have a real habit of sniffing these seeds out and digging them up, almost in the middle of the night, by stealth. I've lost so many peas and beans to mice, and I got a bit fed up of it, so now, just to make sure they definitely can't get at them, I now just put my sown trays or plugs into this tub here, and then clip on the original lid, or use something like this wire mesh which can be crimped round the sides, and that keeps the vermin out. And then once they've germinated, they'll go out onto this bench here, and I'll plant them out in early spring at the same distances apart as if I was sowing them direct. Fava beans are incredibly resilient. As soon as the weather warms up in spring, they'll put on rapid growth. You could just leave them be until it's time to harvest, but there are a few things you can do to ensure healthier plants and an even heavier harvest. The first thing we can do is offer taller varieties some support so they don't flop over when they get top heavy with all those beans. The easiest way to do this is just to simply push down uprights of, say, bamboo canes in each corner and along the sides as needed. And then all we need to do is attach 2 horizontal rows of string, which will keep everything in place. Most of the beans should grow within the supports, but any that grow outside of it are easily tucked back into place. Now, you don't need to support your beans, it's not essential, but by doing this, you just keep everything nice and tidy and obviously keep the beans off your other plants. Did you know that these beans are among the very first to have been cultivated as far back as the Bronze Age? Now, you might want to wait until spring to put up your plant supports. I just put them in now to demonstrate how to do it. The other thing we can do is to keep plants well watered and to pull out or carefully hoe off any weeds, especially important while the plants are still young. Now, keeping plants well watered will ensure that they're much less likely to succumb from diseases which can quickly spread among stressed out plants. The other thing we can do is to pinch out the very tops of the plants, the growing points, as the plants reach full flower and the very first pods are set. Why do we do this? Well, black bean aphid colonies love this soft, young growth. By removing it, we're denying them the opportunity to gain a foothold on your plants. Don't throw them away though, you can use these pinched out bits in cooking. This can also help to concentrate the plant's efforts into pod formation. Incidentally, if you haven't smelt the flowers before, you're in for a treat. They've got a deliciously sweet fragrance. And there are even cerise flowered varieties of fava beans available that look simply stunning. Picking those first fulsome fava beans is a most satisfying experience. Twist or tug them free, but take care not to damage the stems. You can eat smaller pods whole, but the larger pods will need shelling. I rather enjoy this process. The insides of the pods are silky smooth, almost furry, while the fat, smooth beans are so rewarding to slide out. It's a very sensory process and I just love it, but this is also a great job to give to the kids too. Cook smaller shelled beans as they are. The larger, starchier beans though will need boiling for a couple of minutes first, and then they can be just popped out of their outer skin to leave the tender inner bean. A couple of my favourite ways to enjoy them is whizzed up into a beautiful spring fresh hummus, perhaps with a little squeeze of lemon juice for a zesty tang, or roasted with some salt to enjoy for snacking like peanuts, or served up with liver and a little bit of Chianti. Have you got a supper time fava bean fave? Then do share your recipe down below and let's all cook up a bean-fueled bonanza. And if you really love your beans, then check out this playlist here, where you will find some ingenious ideas for supporting climbing types of beans. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications on your way out today, and I will catch you next time.